Hello everyone and welcome to our presentation on ethical leadership, the compass of modern leadership. My name is Abdullah and we are Group 9, and today me and my teammate will explore how ethics guide leaders in building trust, respect and long-term success in organizations. Leadership isn't only about achieving goals, it's also about how those goals are achieved. In this special presentation, we'll talk about what ethical leadership really means, why it's important. We will give some real-life examples of good and bad leaderships, and how leaders can create ethical cultures in their workplace. I will start by explaining what ethical leadership is and why it matters. Then my teammates will cover examples, challenges, and strategies to practice ethical leadership. So let's answer what is ethical leadership. So ethical leadership means leading with honesty, fairness, and integrity. It's when a leader's decisions are guided by strong moral values, not just personal interest or company profit. Ethical leaders lead by example. They walk the talk. They don't just tell people what's right. They show it through their actions. For example, an ethical project manager will be transparent about mistakes, will treat everyone on the team equally, and will make sure that credit is given fairly. These small actions create a culture of trust and respect where people actually want to follow this leader, not because they have to, but because they believe in them. So why ethics matter in leadership? Ethics are the foundation of leadership. Without them, you might have power, but you don't have respect. Also, ethical leaders will trust, and trust is what keeps teams together, especially when challenges come up. They also improve employee morale. When people feel that the leader treats everyone fairly and stands by what is right, they are more motivated to give their trust and their best. Ethical leadership also protects the company reputation. One bad decision from a leader can destroy years of hard work, and we have seen that in a lot of examples. And also finally, ethical leadership creates sustainability. You can have short-term wins through pressure or manipulation, but only ethical practices lead to long-term success. So let's speak about what makes a leader ethical. We have five main principles. First is integrity, which is doing what's right even when no one is watching. That's the heart of ethics. Second, it's fairness, which is treating everyone equally, not based on favorism. Third is accountability, by admitting mistakes and taking responsibility instead of blaming others. Fourth, it's empathy, understanding and respecting others' people's feelings and perspectives. And the fifth is transparency, which is communicating openly and honestly. When a leader consistently applies these principles, people trust them naturally. and the whole organization benefits from it. Now my teammate will show you how these principles look in real life through some case studies.
Thank you. Let's look at a great example of ethical leadership, Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. When Nadella took over, Microsoft culture was known for being competitive and divided. Instead of pushing harder, he introduced a new idea called the growth mindset, a culture built on empathy, collaboration, and continuous learning. He encouraged employees to be curious, not defensive. He also focused on diversity and inclusion, ensuring every voice mattered. Because of his leadership style, Microsoft's reputation improved dramatically. The company became one of the best places to work. Innovation increased and employees felt valued. Nadella proved that being ethical doesn't slow a company down, it actually drives long-term success. Now let's look at the opposite. A case where leadership failed is ethically. Over in its early years, under the former CEO, the company was accused of having toxic culture. There was report of harassment, discrimination, and aggressive internal policies. Leaders ignored employees' complaints and the priorities profit and growth over ethicals. The result? Uber faced massive bloodshed, lawsuit, and damaged reputation that took years to repair. This case shows how quickly unethical leadership can destroy trust, morale, and brand image. The lesson here is simple. Success achieved unethically never lasts. When you compare ethical and unethical leadership, the result couldn't be more different. Ethical leadership creates loyalty, motivation, and trust. People work harder because they believe in their leader's vision. And ethical leadership creates fear, stress, and turnover. Employees start leaving because they don't feel safe and respected. In the long term, ethical leadership helps organizations perform better financially and socially because people want to be part of something positive. As the saying goes, people don't leave company, they leave managers. Ethical leadership keeps them staying. Of course, being ethical leader is not always easy. Sometimes leaders facing gray areas, moments when the right thing to do isn't so clear. For example, imagine a project manager pursues to cut corner to meet the deadline. Do they deliver fast or do they insist on doing it right? Other dilemmas include data privacy or conflict of interest. Ethical leaders handle this moment by asking, what's the fair choice? Who may be affected? Will these decisions still look right 5 years from now? The key is having moral courage, standing by values even when it's difficult. Now, my terminal will explain how organizations can build and maintain this kind of ethical culture.
Thank you, Bowen. So, we're going to be looking at how to foster ethical leadership. So, how can organizations encourage ethical leadership? First, they need to create a clear code of ethics that defines acceptable behavior. It should guide how employees and managers make decisions. Secondly, they should train leaders on how to handle ethical dilemmas. Many unethical acts happen because people aren't sure what is right or wrong in certain situations. The third one is to recognize and reward ethical behaviors. By doing this, we need to celebrate when employees do the right thing, even if it's not the most profitable choice. And most importantly, leaders must lead by examples. Employee will follow what leaders do, not what they say. When leaders consistently act with honesty and fairness, an ethical culture becomes automatic. We'll move on to the next slide. So, in this slide, we'll be talking about the role of emotional intelligence. Another key factor in ethical leadership is emotional intelligence, or we call it EQ. EQ is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions and those of others. Ethical leaders use EQ to make fair and compassionate decisions. For example, self-awareness helps leaders recognize when personal bias might affect judgment. Empathy allows them to see how their actions impact others. And relationship management helps them communicate clearly and resolve conflict peacefully. When leaders combine ethics with emotional intelligence, they create workplaces that are both highly performing and human. Next slide, please. So in this last slide, this is just a conclusion and reflection of all what we're talking about. So to wrap it up, ethical leadership is not just about following rules. It's about living values every single day. It's about being transparent, fair, and responsible, even when no one is watching. Ethical leader you trust that lasts longer than any quarterly profit. They inspire others to act with integrity, and that's what truly defines leadership. Let's remember this quote. Leadership is doing what is right when no one is watching. Thank you all for listening to our presentation. In this last slide, we just want to reference our sources. We would like to acknowledge our sources from Brand and Trevino 2006 studies on ethical leadership. We also have the Nordhaus Leadership Theory and Practice. We have the Harvard Business School Review articles, How Leaders Build an Ethical Culture. We also use insights from Harvard Business School videos, What is Ethical Leadership? These sources help us understand how ethics truly shape modern leadership. Thank you again for watching.